What's up, you guys? So I'm back. Sorry for the long duration without putting out any videos, but I've been through a lot. I'll link a video over here when I do an update for all of you guys. But this video today, I'm going to be going over AMD. So AMD is a stock that I talked about me buying a few months ago, and really where I saw the stock going in the short to long term. And since then, AMD's kind of exploded. So AMD, from my price target back, my price point back about 6 months ago or so, it is up over 75%. And I'm going to kind of go into what I see going on with the stock. Like, do I see that it's going to be going up more in the future? Do I think that it's going to really need to come back down to earth and I'm going to be selling out? And a little bit reasons of like what AMD is doing and where do I think the stock's going because of the new things that they've announced with their past earnings report. So let's jump right into it. All right, so AMD has kind of destroyed all expectations for what the stock should have been doing over the past few months. It tanked and then rallied about 80% in the past month and a half. And it's kind of been a wild ride, to say the least. I'm sure if any of you are AMD shareholders, you kind of hold my same concerns and emotions that have been going on during this time. But there are a couple of key takeaways from AMD's last earnings report that really shed light onto what is happening with the stock and why it rallied the way it did. So first things first, revenue for the company is up 53% year over year. Now that is kind of outstanding, especially because kind of going into their net income, AMD has been a company that for the past, pretty much decade has been kind of like, they've been very lackluster. Like, they haven't really pumped out a lot of products that people are liking. They haven't gotten a lot of support from the PC or gaming community. And, a lot of the ventures that they've been going into have failed. But a couple of years ago, they got a new CEO, Lisa Wong, and she has completely turned around the company and has started to really focus on research and development on products that have obviously been a great success so far in the market. So again, like what I said earlier, their net income this year was at $116 million. Now, if you go back a year ago, AMD was actually losing money. The same quarter last year, they, I believe, were down $40 million in their quarter, and now they're up over 116. So like, if you look at that growth, the amount of money that they're just kind of like shelling out now ever since they released their Ryzen lines and started to revamp on their graphics cards, great moves on them, and they've actually really been able to take a hold of the the cryptocurrency market, the exploding gamings, and then just everybody dumping as much money as they possibly can into tech stocks of the past year. So one of the biggest things, though, that is, like, in my opinion, kind of like, I did a video about it right over here. I'll link to it. It's kind of like AMD is really just being able to capitalize on all of the mishaps that Intel has been doing over the past few years. Now, Intel is a phenomenal company, and they have done amazing things over the past few decades, but they have really been dragging their feet over the past couple of years. And no one at Intel expected AMD to drop Ryzen and for Ryzen to have as much performance as it did. And that kind of caught them all off guard, and Intel continuously cannot respond to it properly. So the biggest reason is that the Ryzen line CPU is already on a 10 nanometer chipset, and Intel cannot even get to that chipset's level for another 2 years, when AMD is already talking about becoming a 7 nanometer chipset by the end or by the beginning of 2019. So within a half a year, AMD is going to solidify itself being 2 years ahead of Intel in how small they can make their chipset, which is really impressive because Intel has time and time again failed to make a small 10 nanometer chipset in the past year and a half. So AMD is really capitalizing on Intel messing up and the market exploding. So kind of what I said with going about like how Intel was probably going to have a lot of issues keeping their server space, and a lot of people ever since the Spectre meltdown with the amount of vulnerability and security issues that Intel allowed almost 86% of the market to have. I thought that AMD is probably going to have a lot of legroom to grow, and they're going to be able to seize up a lot of market share. And sure enough, they have. So one of the biggest things is that if you look at AMD's earnings reports, their highlights said that Tencent, HP, and Cisco have all started to integrate AMD's EPYC chipset CPUs into their servers. So this is amazing because they were all using Intel prior to AMD with the new EPYC series. But ever since the Spectre issue came up, all of these companies decided that they needed to upgrade, to prevent all of their data from being breached and for people to easily hack into their information. And they all chose to go with AMD. And this is huge because it is really difficult to switch from one chip manufacturer to the other, because now you have to buy an entire new set of DDR4 because they have different RAM and processes needed like that. Pretty much there's a lot of legwork that needs to go on when you switch from AMD to Intel. And these three major companies have all done the jump because they're just kind of done with the Intel issues that are going on right now. And so that provided a lot of revenue going into AMD's systems, and is also a way that they can kind of secure that revenue in the future. Because now that these three major companies are in there, they don't want to be shelling out billions and billions of dollars each year to really, change their entire systems and make a brand new, go from Intel to AMD back to Intel from AMD. They just don't want to go through that. So they're probably going to stick with AMD for the foreseeable future, unless a serious issue comes out with the AMD chipset. And in all honesty, looking at the results from the new EPYC and Ryzen lines, it's not going to be happening anytime soon. And so where do I think the stock is right now? So at the end of the day, I bought into AMD with my last price point at 1051 when I made the last video. That was about the average price per share I had. And the stock price as of making this video is over 1855. So, about a 70% increase. And I saw them taking away, between 7 to 15% of Intel's market share, and they're already nearing the 10% mark or not their market share, but AMD becoming 1/10 of Intel's market cap. And they're already, 3/4 of the way there. So in my personal opinion, for the short run, I think over the next 2 years, AMD is going to continue to outperform Intel because of all the issues that they have with their nanometer chips. But I also think that, with running up 80% within a few months, you can only expect so much more from the stock to do. I do not think it's going to continue on and triple in value by the time that this run's done. I personally see only about 30 to 35% more room for growth before AMD becomes, once it gets past that, I'll personally think that AMD is becoming overvalued, especially because we don't know if Intel's going to knock it out of the park when they finally release their new chipset. But again, that's not going to be for another couple of years. So I think for right now, for the next few years, AMD is going to be pretty safe and is going to be accumulating market share, which is great if you want to get in all to that growth. But keep in mind that Intel isn't one to really stay down for long, and there's a reason why Intel's been the top dog for the past 30 years, and they have enough resources to really put as much money as they possibly can into research and development and really kind of take back all of the market share that they've lost to AMD, possibly. Again, it's not guaranteed, but that's just an extra risk added on to it. So that's why I am personally not buying any more shares, and I'm probably going to be selling into this strength because full disclosure, I have AMD shares, and ever since they started to get past their $16 mark, I've been selling off those shares because I do not see I don't see this same amount of growth in the short term, and I think it'd be more likely that it would fall that same amount than it would to go up again the same amount. So in my mind, I'm mediating my risk by selling out into strength, and then if there is a major stock correction, maybe I'll buy that back. But for right now, I'm not going to give up 75%. I'm not going to give up a 75% increase just for another, say, 30, 35%. That's a horrible risk-to-reward ratio. I do love it. I do love AMD, and I am bullish on them long term. But the stock just ran up so much in the short time. I am not, super bullish for them in the short term now. But that does not mean that, again, I'm not a financial advisor. Don't be selling your shares or anything like that. That's just my viewpoint of where I think things are going. So that's kind of my update on AMD. I know it's kind of all over the place. I'm still getting used to my new setting and just wanted to get back into this. So let me know in the comment section below, are you guys an AMD shareholder? Have you been thinking about it? Are you, super pro Intel? Do you think this is all just a fluke and AMD is going to be coming back? I'd really like to know and, go back and forth on different inputs. There's still a lot more information I can cover on AMD, but there's also a lot of information you need to cover back on Micron and really get the channel up and going. So it's going to be a bit rocky, but, if you guys like this kind of content, just stick around. I plan on putting out a lot more tech-specific stock news and analysis in the long term, because, you know, that is my background. I focus more on, you know, semiconductors and other tech stocks than the majority of people here on YouTube. So I think I can really give a pretty good insight compared to other, you know, channels just on this specific niche. And again, if you guys want me to do any individual stocks or, you know, my opinions on any companies, you know, just throw them down in the comments and I'll be sure to take a look at them and really kind of get back to each and every one of them. You know, I really want to revamp this channel up over the next few months, and you know, I'm going to put out as much content as I can, but you guys got to tell me what you want. So hopefully you like this again. So, you know, it's been one heck of a ride for us AMD bulls, and, you know, we have been rewarded. So, you know, just don't let those gains slip away. So, all right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.